Season 4 starts today as we put a close to 2026. Look forward to 2027, and I'm fucking fed up. We're going to make a splash. I can guarantee you that. We are no longer going to be the pushover of the league. Can't guarantee we're going to win the World Series. I'm sure as shit going to try my fucking best to do what we can. I am sick and tired of losing. You are sick and tired of losing. And it's time for the offseason. Before we get that, obviously, we have to look at the playoffs and kind of show around the league. On the American League side of things, the wild card round. The winners of the wild card were Seattle, Baltimore, and Tampa Bay. Seattle and Baltimore will face off in that 4-5 spot, with Boston, the winner of the American League East, taking on the 6th and final seed in the American League side, the third wild card in Tampa Bay. Texas and Minnesota awaits their respective victors of that first round. On our side, the National League, San Diego and the Dodgers made it, with the Dodgers being the number 1 seed in the West in the National League, as they are awaiting San Diego at Atlanta. So that should be a pretty good side of that bracket. Milwaukee, Cincinnati, and NL Central showdown in the 3rd and 6th seeds, with Philadelphia awaiting that. Let's move on to the championship series and kind of see who did what. All right, the CSs are set in the American League. Baltimore went past Seattle and number 1 seeded Texas. So the Orioles are looking for a trip to the World Series. And Tampa Bay making the underrated move, beating Boston, beating Minnesota. So the 2 lowest seeds in the American League move on, while the 2 top seeds take care of business, and they will be playing each other, the Dodgers and the Phillies. It's going to be the San Diego Padres beating the Braves, and then them losing to the Dodgers, and then Cincinnati ends up sweeping Milwaukee and getting gentlemen swept by Philadelphia. Dodgers, Phillies, Baltimore, Tampa Bay, and we'll see you when we get to the World Series. Baltimore and Philadelphia, 2 teams not too far away geographically, and 2 teams that done it different. Philadelphia went out and they spent. They have guys like Bryce Harper, Trey Turner, Zach Wheeler, all guys who did not originate with that franchise, being the leaders of this Philadelphia regime, who's been deep in the playoffs the last 5-6 years. Baltimore, opposite way, a bunch of top overall prospects, top overall picks, Adley Rutschman, Gunnar Henderson, Jackson Holliday, and the rest. That list goes on and on and on. And 2 different philosophies facing off here in October. Baltimore, Philadelphia. Who's going to win it? We're up 11-1 here in the 9th inning. Have a 3-2 lead as Bryson Stott, the last hope to keep this alive. Baltimore coming through offensively here in game number 6 and really putting a beat down on the Phillies. Phillies wearing their City Connect uniforms, with Baltimore in their gray uniforms. And again, this is a style that we're looking to emulate by the Baltimore Orioles. Having a lot of our guys we draft, getting through minor league trades, things of that nature. Obviously, we're building that pitching staff up heavy. They've gone the opposite direction, getting all their position players, supplementing that with pitching along the way. And the Birds take the World Series for the first time in God knows how long, as the Baltimore Orioles are your 2026 World Series champion. Old friend Tyler O'Neill, and so much more talent on that team as they celebrate in Philadelphia. Jackson Holliday had a tremendous game offensively. I believe Ryan Mountcastle had multiple home runs in this one, just really lighting up the Philadelphia Phillies. And again, this is the 3rd straight year we had to watch from the sidelines. Did not make the postseason. Barely cracked 60 wins this year. And I want this. I want that so bad. World Series MVP is going to be Jackson Holliday. 3 home runs, 8 RBI, and a .444 average through those 6 games. If we're going to look at the postseason MVP, Bryson Stott was the man who got the Philadelphia Phillies to the World Series, with Jackson Holliday sweeping the postseason awards. Had a total of 9 home runs and was at 24 RBI over the month. Absolute stud, and his Hall of Fame candidacy starting off really, really, really well. Pitching coach Dylan Shugan has decided to retire, so that's one thing we're going to have to address here in the offseason. Retirements, one big of note, Steven Strasburg goes, has not pitched since 2022. Really sad story, but 2019 will live on forever. What he did with the Nationals, really filling up to that potential that we've seen. You saw him pitch 30 games here and there, 20 games here and there. Seems like he could never crack 170 innings when he did it 3 separate times before that 2019 season. And that was the last Steven Strasburg that we saw. Silver Slugger, World Series MVP, a few All-Star appearances. Congratulations, and really sorry for what could have been one of the best pitching careers. Jose Abreu, another guy that has retired, did not have some good years in Houston. Actually did have a decent 2024, but really Chicago White Sox legend with multiple 30 home run seasons. His best season really was his first season as a rookie of the year. I remember when he was coming over, I wanted the Red Sox to get him so bad, coming off of a World Series added to first base. And he really was an incredible player for a time, and coming over at age 28, getting a late start, threw up almost 300 home runs and the likes, and he was an incredibly solid player. 3 All-Stars, 3 Silver Sluggers, an MVP in that shortened 2020, and Rookie of the Year. Brandon Belt, a couple World Series for him, and just another incredibly solid first baseman. Old friend Alex Cobb, who spent half a season with us last year, is going to hang it up. Eduardo Escobar, another decent player, hanging it up. Another career that could have gone a lot better, Noah Syndergaard. He will hang it up. Again, had an All-Star appearance in 2016, and part of those Mets teams that were very, very good until they weren't. Also another guy hampered by injuries, and he will ride off into the sunset at 34. And that will do it for retirement. It's no one really up for Hall of Fame. A couple of good careers here and there, but really not a whole bunch leaving the league here in 2026. Only player that we have to really make a decision on is Antonio Sensatella, and we are going to decline his team option. He is going to become a free agent. He was $10 million owed last season. We could get him back for 2, but we are not going to bring back Antonio Sensatella. His era is up in Colorado, and that saves us $10 million to use. Obviously, we're on that budget restriction still. We still have not got lifted from that $120 million player salary, so we're just going to have to deal with it. We have signed Ruben Niebla to be our pitching coach after our previous pitching coach retired. And here's what our staff is looking like. Most of these guys signed last season. Geraldo Ponce, our manager. Elroy Solis, our hitting coach. Ruben Niebla, our new pitching coach. First base, Bo Becker. Third base, Whitney Dillon. And farm director, Juan Chavez. So that's what we have for our coaching staff. I'm not sure if we've been really keeping up with them, but that's what we have going into season 4. All right, this stuff, before we get into any signings or any free agency, we're just going to go over the roster, kind of talk about some key positions and what my philosophy is going to be with them. Obviously, starting pitching, it's going to be built from within. Dollander, White, Bubic, most likely Bud Leonard, as we have our rookies now in here. We have a spot. We definitely do. I would like to probably get one more guy. I don't think Sixto Sanchez is going to be with us for much longer. I do not believe Ryan Rollis, definitely not Ryan Rollis, and Joe Rock is going to be in the mix, but he got rocked last year. We really don't have, I really would like one more. Obviously, Bud Leonard probably is going to push for a spot. I would like to at least start Marco Garcia off in the minor leagues first. I don't want to rush him, even though he is 23, and it's another look at kind of what we believe in him as a player. But I would love to see him get some work, maybe develop a little bit in the minor leagues. If he puts the world on fire, kind of the Bud Leonard treatment. That's how we treated him. If you light the world on fire, you can come up early. But if not, you're not going to. So that's kind of what I think at starting pitcher. Relief pitcher, again, it is a mixed bag. Just get guys who are cheap, guys who are going to be fine. This is kind of the last area I want to work on as the team. Dre Jameson is going to be our closer, with Justin Lawrence is no longer going to be our closer. Might actually be looking to move on from him. He has $2 million this year, arbitration year next year, so it might be time to move on from Lawrence. But with the reliever position being so up and down, you can have a bad year the year before and a good year the next year. He has not been great ever since I've gotten to town, and ERA up over 4.4 each season, with last year being his best year in more of a setup / middle relief role. Catching, love the year that we got from Drew Romo. I think if he can repeat a year like this, it's not going to wow you. It's not going to jump off the page, but he was doing just fine. Hitting fine. The power went up a bit. Striking out less, walking a little bit more, and less games even. So I think if he continue to have seasons like this with the defense he provides, again, he was a plus WAR player. I think he was around 2.2 WAR last season. Only one error all year. Could be multiple time Gold Glover. For my catcher spot, I'm fine with that. Ralphie Velasquez, after a pretty shitty year, just all things considered, he will not be coming up this year, even though he might be ready at just 21 years old. Willie McIver, I'm fine with him being the backup catcher. I think he did fine. Had some pop off the bench, so when he did play, he wasn't a nuisance in a WAR about 1 in about 440 innings. So I'll take that from my catchers. First base, Young Keel. We want someone probably against lefties. We might start platooning him just because he has not hit well against lefties in the last couple of years. He had a career high in home runs, tied a career high in home runs, had a career year. The average went up. He looked a lot more comfortable at the plate, but we might want to give him some off days against lefties, maybe find a first baseman. Totally a project is done. We'll be trying to move on from him. And all we have is 2 more years of Chris Bryant before we get a lot of money to open up and use. Dale Amador was awesome last year. Not an all-star world beater season, but was good defensively, 3rd in the Gold Glove. Juan Guerrero is a guy I really want on the bench. Nolan Jones, what more to say about him? He's been excellent. Max Wagner had a breakout year in the minors, and Sterling Thompson's looking like he wants to pick up one of those outfield spots. Ezequiel Tovar, great, and he has 1 more year, 2 more years of team control. We might be looking to try to lock him in. I was skeptical after the first year. Then after that, he's been awesome. So if we did lock him up in that year and really got him at a more bargain price, the price has been going up. And 27 home runs, shattered a career high, 93 RBI. He's a guy who can play at the top of the lineup, bottom of the lineup, middle of the lineup. He can do everything. And obviously defensively, he's awesome. Cedane Rafaela just hasn't hit. He can be a good utility guy, but really what is his value for us if he's not going to do anything? And Khalil Watson still has a lot to prove. In the outfield, Teoscar Hernandez is here for 1 more season. Brenton Doyle did not have a great year, but still, with all that being said, offensively, we knew he was going to be a negative offensively. He still put up a pretty comparable WAR on all of his seasons here, just with how good he is defensively. But I am looking to make a splash, and splash I think we're going to make. Veen and Beck, still no one has decided that they want to take this job, so an outfield spot might be available, and that's where we're looking to make the splash. All right, we're going to go over some non-tenders. Sixto Sanchez was the first culprit off of the board, and as well as him, Ryan Rollison will be released as well. We have not liked what we've seen from those guys, even just a little bit. They're coming up on arbitration, and if we can't get them from super cheap, then I really don't want them. So we've offered arbitration to some guys. Here's some guys that we've offered small deals, try to avoid arbitration with. But everyone else that we have offered arbitration to, are going to go to the battles. So Bubic is one of them, Feltner is one of them, and Weathers is one of them. So half of our guys, and actually all position players, we've tried to strike deals with. Everyone else we're going to go to arbitration or not even offer arbitration at all. Also, we also went through some of minor league guys that we non-tendered, trimmed down the roster. So we showed some notables earlier, but other than that, just kind of trimming up our minor leagues and trying to add some different people here and there. So our first look at the free agency class of 2026 And here are the top names: Jazz Chisholm, David Bednar, Hassan Kim, Freddie Peralta, Ryan Mountcastle, Nico Horner, Tariq Skubal, Nate Lowe, Yandy Diaz, Jose Alvarado, Dustin May, Pete Fairbanks, Brian Abreu, and the rest. Starting pitching wise, again, Skubal, Peralta, Dustin May, Trevor Rogers, Luis Garcia are some of the top names here. I don't know if these guys are going to be a little rich for us. Maybe we can look and see someone who doesn't give up a lot of home runs, but also is coming off of a down year. Maybe try to sneak in a pretty good contract. Like, I don't think we're going to be in the Skubal range. Definitely don't think we're going to be in the Peralta or Dustin May range. Trevor Rogers might be a little rich. Maybe Luis Garcia, someone like that. Or someone of that nature. Relief pitchers, Brian Abreu is going to be a closer somewhere if it's not just going back to Houston. And then, this is a pretty interesting position for us and for the rest of the league, and we'll see if there are deals somewhere that we can try to exploit. Closer, we kind of already have our guy, but a good class for closers. Garrett Crochet, Jojo Romero, and then all the way up here to Bednar, who's been an absolute stud. Catcher, not too bad either. Usually we don't see a bunch of catchers, but Jeffers, Kirk, Heim, Sanchez, Real Muto, and Jake Rogers, all guys with all-star potential. And even Tyler Stevenson there, who was heralded as one of the better catchers not too long ago. Ryan Mountcastle at first base. Yandy Diaz, just a contact god. He is going to hit. He's going to hit all of the fucking time. He does not have an offer on him right now, and we were saying we kind of needed some help at first base, and he especially does really good against lefties. Nate Lowe, Wilmer Flores, a cheaper option there, and Max Muncy for that power with Schwarber there as well. Nico Horner, really good up the middle, and second base kind of falls off. Drury and Jonathan India and Thairo Estrada are the big names behind him. Alec Boehm, just coming off a World Series defeat. Another guy who could probably play first base, really good against lefties. The contract here might be a little bit too rich for a guy that we might want to platoon, or if not DH. But definitely, again, this is the type of player we're looking for to help out with Yanquiel Fernandez. Matt Chapman there as well. Another guy who is pretty good against lefties. Obviously, we're not going to put him at first base, but we can always figure something out. Nolan Jones can play first, but I like, honestly, his defense a little bit more than Matt Chapman's, but we'll see. That contract isn't too huge. Hassan King, Brendan Rodgers, bring back an old friend of Brendan Rodgers. I don't think we're going to do that with Dale Amador being really good, but Kim, he can be good someplace. We'll see if the Padres retain him. Dalton Varsho leads a weaker class of outfielders. He had a pretty excellent year with Toronto. You see that contract they offer. The industry said he is not loving that. He's definitely going to look for something. Jake Fraley, kind of the opposite of what we're looking for, but Chas McCormick might be somebody we're looking for, especially against lefties. Can't play the outfield, a little speedy. Randy Rosarena also coming off of a year that wasn't terrible, but he has not been that motherfucker named Randy in quite some time. So maybe Colorado is a nice place for him to regain some value, but in the outfield, again, we're looking at a move. I've been kind of talking over the last couple of weeks behind the scenes, and I think we might be looking to make a splash. If you want a center fielder, well, too bad. If you don't get Jazz Chisholm, who doesn't have the qualifying offer on him and doesn't really do good against lefties, you're not really going to get a good one. Dylan Carlson, good against lefties. Kind of the opposite of Chisholm offensively, but still as good defensively, not as fast. And Harrison Bader, pretty good defensive guy. So if you need some help defensively in center field, there you go. But other than that, not much of that. And Bellinger back on the market here after not really getting the deal he wanted a couple off seasons ago. And Chicago up there. Trent Grisham, old friend Max Kepler. And I'm going to go make some moves and let you know who we're going at. All right, so we have roughly $30 million to play with if everyone signs their contracts the way I think they're going to. We're going to use about a third of that, a little bit over a third of that here. Try to bring in Jesus Luzardo. He is the guy that we're going to offer a 5-year contract worth $60 million with a player option at the end of that year. We're going to say he's going to be our ace, try to sweeten up the deal as well. In the last couple of years, he's been okay, and he's had 3 really, really solid years, really an incredible tenure in Miami. A guy who has a good pitch mix, going to keep home runs down, isn't going to walk a bunch of guys, just very solid overall, and a guy that we think can lead this staff. Again, of all the guys we have, not every one of them is going to hit. If we can lock in Luzardo, Dollander, and White, that means only 2 of our next couple of guys need to be there. And then obviously, if one of those guys doesn't pan out, that's fine. So Luzardo is a guy that we're going to try to win. We'll be a little more aggressive trying to win. And this is who we're going to try to bring in. So we're going to offer this contract in. Going to offer a contract to Genesis Cabrera. We kind of like what he has. Did not have a good year last year, but that is kind of an outlier year. We've seen him face us before. We kind of like the pitch mix of the lefty in the bullpen. We're going to offer him a 1-year deal, try to help his value. Another contract we're going to add is to James Karinchak. The walks is what's killed him. So he's not looking for a whole bunch, but we're going to try to bring him on in a deal very similar to the pitcher we just offered in Cabrera. Offer a contract to TJ Antone. These are the 3 relievers we're going to go after here. Keeps hits down, but walks again an issue. Has not been terrible. Actually been very, very, very good in his time in Cincinnati. He wants a little bit less money than the other guys, so we're going to see if we can get this done. All 3 of those guys should total to around to roughly $10 million. So we just have, if all these guys signed, we only have like $10 million to play with. Going to offer a contract to Rhys Hoskins here after looking through the free agent. Through free agency, I think this is the best. We are going to have also some inter-squad competition, some internal competition, but I think Rhys gives us some good pop against lefties, adds some more stuff that I like. Everyone else either wasn't a primary first baseman. I don't really want to lose defense there, even though it's not the biggest defensive position. I'd rather a guy that knows how to play first base. A couple good seasons in Milwaukee, so hopefully he takes this guy to be our lefty hitter at first base. So about a week in, and here is what we have. We have gotten Jesus Luzardo on that contract. $12 million a year till 2031. He's going to be our ace for the next foreseeable future until someone else overtakes him. But I think at the minimum, he's going to be number 3 for us, even if everyone else kind of works. Lefty in the rotation. Bubic and him are going to work. We're going to have Bobby White and Bud Leonard in there as well. And then really a fight for that 5th spot. So it will Dollander. So that's a pretty good first rotation, first look at our rotation for us, and I am ecstatic. Also signing is Fernandez, gets his 2 years to try to take some of those arbitration years as well. Genesis Cabrera and James Karinchak both signed, TJ Antone and Rhys Hoskins. So we are looking awesome right now. If we go to our budget, a lot of everybody has signed. We're at $104 million in our player salaries. So we have $16 more million to work with to keep in that budget constraint by our owner. So that is what we're going to look for. So that's what we have going, and let's continue free agency, see anyone else signs. I don't think we're going to make too many more moves through free agency. So let's just continue to move on. First big fish, David Bednar, going to the former World Series champions and a team that had a stranglehold on Major League Baseball for a while. It's starting to lose some of that flame. He's going to join Josh Hader there in Houston. Another closer moves. Evan Phillips is going to go to Miami. They have Mariano Jimenez, I believe his name is, a young, bright closer. I believe got an all-star game. So I'm sure Phillips is going to actually move into a relief spot, but was fantastic last year. Miami's really starting to bolster up that bullpen. Freddie Peralta going to the Phillies, trying to help them win a World Series. He's awesome, an underrated player in our league, and he gets a pretty good contract, $79 million for 6 years to head to Philadelphia. We're going to make a trade here. Michael Toglia is going to go to the Cincinnati Reds. Again, we are done with the Michael Toglia experiment. We're going to try to clear up some 40-man roster spots. So here are some guys that I think we can get some value out of. I don't want to just completely outright them off the 40-man roster. And so we're going to start doing some of these moves, some minor moves, just kind of move things up. We're going to get Jose Torres, a second baseman. Can play in the middle of the field, very good defender, decent contact bat. So maybe he's something, maybe he's not. But Cincinnati needs some depth at first base. We need some depth in the middle infield, and I think it's a good prospect for prospect swap. Another 1-for-1 trade here. We're going to send Kevin Smith over to the Athletics, and we're going to get Alexi Rosa, catcher, some depth. Young catcher, probably going to be more of a fielder, just kind of how I like my catchers. Actually a pretty good bunter as well. So, again, we just need some depth at catcher after letting a couple go in the non-tenders, and they get Kevin Smith, the guy I kind of wanted around because of his defense, but with a guy like Juan Guerrero, the guy like Ceddanne Rafael, the guys who are going to be on our bench and are already good at defense and can play some more positions. Sterling Thompson also has some great defense. He's going to be with our team as well. And decided we're going to keep warming Bernabel. He was another guy that we were looking to kind of get rid of, kind of in this camp. And I think I like Bernabel has more potential than Smith does. Is cheaper as well, and Athletics desperately need a third baseman. Actually, Kevin Smith started this a couple years ago with the Athletics, so I think it's a fair swap 1-for-1. All right, in our last trade before we kind of look at some more in the offseason, Sean Bouchard, is finally going to leave our organization. Really quadruple A guy for us. He's going to go over to Toronto and needs help in the outfield bad. We're going to get Ralph Yamashita, a Japanese outfielder who just 22 years old. Right now, he might be something, but it's going to take a while. Toronto does not want to wait. We have a little bit more patience there, so kind of very similar to Christian Nam in terms of kind of where he kind of sits right now and his age, things like that. So we're going to let those two kind of develop alongside each other. And the other guy, a relief pitcher that they don't really have much need for, in Vinny Garcia. Great limiting walks, not so much at home runs, so we'll see how that plays with us if he can make a future with us here. Good 5-pitch mix. We're using that splitter changeup, 2-seam and 4-seam to really play all different angles off the fastball, and then a slider. Nothing thrown too exceptionally hard, but nothing too exceptionally soft, and it's another one to clear up some 40-man space. Jose Alvarado goes to Kansas City on a 5-year, $45.5 million deal, and they're trying to get the playoffs. Bobby Witt Jr. is finally entering his prime. They kind of went all in, got some veterans from the Cardinals season or two ago, so they're going to try to add to a team with playoff aspirations. Ryan Jeffers going to Anaheim with the Angels. 5 years, about $70 million to catch one of the best overall offensive catchers in the game, and that's a position you don't get a lot of offense from, so Anaheim trying to keep Mike Trout interested in potentially in the playoffs. Pete Fairbanks going to Philadelphia. Phillies trying to get revenge on the league for losing the World Series. They're adding some more. Brian Abreu takes a big deal for the San Diego Padres. 5 years, $48.5 million. For a month of free agency, here's kind of the markets for players right now. Ha-Seong Kim only really getting one offer. Jazz Chisholm only getting one offer. Ryan Mountcastle, his offers are getting a lot more competitive with Seattle and San Francisco joining the mix. Kobe Mayo is going to be the first baseman for the Orioles. They don't re-sign Mountcastle, so they're really not missing too much. Nico Horner looks like an angel. Dustin May's market has not quite took off the way he thought it was. Yandy Diaz still out there. Nate Lowe, still trying to get offers. The Mets have jumped in on Dalton Varsho. Jonah Heim, the Astros have moved in on him. Alec Boehm, the Angels, also looking at him. And Alejandro Kirk has a nice market right now. Dustin May finally gets a deal, so a little bit cheaper than I think he would have liked. 5 years, $69.5 million to go to Washington as they tried to get out of the basement as well. Ryan Mountcastle is going to go to the Royals, so another big splash by the Royals. And again, like we said, the Orioles have Kobe Mayo that's going to slot in there, and they're just going to refarm, replenish. They're going to be just A-OK. Guy had 3 home runs in the game-clinching Game 6 of the World Series. Right as we hit the winter meetings, Alejandro Kirk is going to go to the Dodgers, so they missed Will Smith last year. Now they get Alejandro Kirk, who returns closer to home of his native Mexico to Los Angeles. Draft lottery last year, we finished with the tied for the worst record in the league. it was a tough season, no doubt. The White Sox, the Athletics, the Mets, and the Nationals all had under 70 wins. Tigers, Guardians, Pirates, Giants, Angels round out your top 10. Let's see what our odds are. I believe since we finished so low, we're going to get bounced way down, but we still might. I'm not 100% sure how that works still as my third year here, but that's what we got. And we fall 2 spots down to number 4 pick. The Nationals jump up, the Athletics jump up 1, the White Sox stay at 1, and that's really it. No, not too many risers and fall. Well, there's one here, one there. Actually, we fell the most by anybody, but other than that, 4th pick, Colorado. All right, we had the 7th pick last year, the 2nd pick the year before that, and 3rd year the year before that. So we have not really. We've been picking in the top 5 each of my years here, and as the last time I want to do so.
Hey, man. No, I'm good. I'm good. No, they're doing all right. Doing all right. Hey, I want to pick your brain on something. I'm looking to make a move. I'm sorry. Congratulations on winning the draft lottery. Congrats, you guys. You guys need it more than we do. Fuck you. Yes, I joke. But hey, what are your thoughts on Luis Robert Jr.? Relax. Here's why. Feldman's probably going to be the number 1 pick in center field. No. Or you just got him. He's almost ready. No. He killed rookie ball. Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying put him up now. But you're giving Robbie 12 or something like that. He's going to be gone next year potentially. Let me just tell you what I want to give you. We got pitching. We got a shit ton of pitching. Hardesty, Para, not Para. Hardesty's where we. I love Para. I don't know if Para. Okay, well, all right, relax. Hardesty. I'll go Rose. No, we're not giving up Leonard. Because he's going to pitch for us next. I think he's. Well. All right, call me back. What you got? You sure? Can we talk about this more? Really? All right. Well, I appreciate you listening. Appreciate taking the time. All right, man. Good luck.
All right, we are right after the winter meetings here, and we're just going to look one more time at kind of the landscape of free agency. I was doing some deals, and my deal that I wanted to make fell through. I wanted to trade for Luis Robert Jr. However, the White Sox, who aren't contending, we're going to lose him next year, stood pat. They did not like anything that we had. I don't know if they just don't value our guys. They tried so many different options, so many different ways, so many different things you can go about it, and they just declined. So I think that's going to put a cap in our free agency. Unfortunately, it sucks. It fucking blows. But anyway, this is what everyone's looking like. Luis Garcia market heating up. Gosman's still that one offer. Tristan McKenzie's getting some look. Patrick Sandoval as well. Jordan Montgomery, no. Casey Mize, a couple offers. Relief pitching. Brusdar Gratterall, Jason Adam, Matt Strom. Really, Gratterall is the only guy with a market right now. These guys, I'm sure, are going to go later in the year. Jonah Heim has a nice competitive market, and that's really it for catchers. Yandy Diaz, nothing but Nate Lowe's getting significant offers, and nobody else. Schwarber, some one-year deals to be a DH probably. Nico Horner, looks like he's getting some interest. And that is really it. Alec Boehm, still the Angels and the Phillies. Matt Chapman, still that 1-year offer. And that is that. Pirates have entered in on Ha-Seong Kim, which I don't know why they have O'Neal Cruz. But O'Neal Cruz does not hit lefties at all. Ha-Seong Kim hits lefties exceptionally. And that is really it for shortstops. Varsho market heating up. That's it. Jazz Chisholm is probably being the next really big player to go. The Mets look like they're closing in. They've had an awful season, and they're doing teams that are good at baseball. They go and get guys, and he's a guy that they're going to try and go and get. Doesn't hit lefties particularly well, but can still be a pretty good player. Trent Grisham, some offers, and that's really it. Again, I'll probably look at the trade market, but I'm so defeated right now, honestly. So we did not end up selecting anyone in the Rule 5 draft driver. Eliezer Alfonso, a guy that we signed in the free agency pool to be catcher depth. He goes, so now we need to look at maybe another catcher for catcher depth. Garrett Hill, Yerry Garcia, Luis Gonzalez, and Tyler Phillips went round 1 with Will Holland, who a guy I was looking at for a second with that power against lefties. He goes in round 2 to Chicago, who I want to murder now. Luis Garcia finally makes a decision. Milwaukee it is, 4 years, $49 million, and replacing a Freddie Peralta size hole in the rotation. Nico Horner is going to go to the White Sox, 5 years, $89 million, so doesn't have to move too far from the north side to the south side. He had a pretty good year, and I guess Chicago knew they were in contacts with Horner, and they were going to try to run it back and try to really get out of the basement. So we've seen the Mets potentially make some deals. We've seen Chicago make some deals. Washington made a move, and we're just still on the bottom. Jonah Heim is going to go to Baltimore. It's interesting. Adley Rutschman there, Samuel Basalos is there, and now Jonah Heim is there. So a lot of catchers there. We'll see what they try to move people around. Daniel Lowe's going to go to the Athletics. So the Athletics shelling out money, and we seem to be the only people that aren't, and that's interesting. Stillinsfield. Yes, sir. How you doing? Hey, we got a guy that's willing to come here, that's going to help us out. I need some money, though. Probably go a little bit over the one. Sir, I understand that we have the budget, but we need something here. We need something. Sir, his agents, here, I just need $10 extra million to go over. Allow me to do that. Allow me to go over 10. I'll get it down. Sir, Paul, I need the fucking money. You need to give me the fucking money. You don't give me the money, we're never going to do anything. I get it. You don't give a fuck about this team. You don't give a fuck about me. You don't give a fuck about any of the fans that come and try to support this team. I'm trying my best. Our pitching's almost there. We have some good pieces. This guy is something that's going to get us over the hump. We can't be losing. No, you listen to me. You're not the one fucking here every day. You're not the one in that office. You're not the one on that field. You're at home counting your fucking money because just owning a team is insanely profitable. I get it. We're the Colorado Rockies, not the Red Sox, not the Dodgers. You don't have money up the fucking ass. But I just need this $10 extra more million for this guy who's been sitting out there and no one wants to bite. And I don't know why no one wants to bite. I have faith that he is going to do something great here. Put him in this ballpark. He has the range. I'm asking for 10. I can't do 5. I need the 10. Look, Chris is coming off the book soon. We're going to get out of that stupid fucking contract. We'll have $15 more million extra dollars to play if we sign this guy. And still, I need it now. I can't wait till next year. We might not get this chance again. You don't get this. I'm offering the contract. Either you sign it or kick me out. Because I want to win. If you don't, And fuck you. Fuck. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a guy I did not think we were going to go and get. Jazz Chisholm Jr. coming to Colorado after talking with our owner, showing him all the moves everyone was making. I begged and pleaded for $2 million extra. And we got it. Jazz Chisholm going to come to Colorado, 7-year deal, almost $150 million. Especially with Chris Bryant's deal coming off the book fairly soon. I think this is going to be a tremendous move for us. And with Bryant coming out, I think we're going to be able to lock up some of our young guys if they pan out. We're making the push. Everyone else was pushing. I've been trying to push. We got Jazz Chisholm. And that's it. I could have waited a year on Robert Jr. potentially, but I wanted Jazz. I wanted somebody. Jazz Chisholm fit the bill. We're going to see what this roster looks like at the end. We got him, ladies and gentlemen. Finally in the battle here. As we enter the final month of free agency, Dalton Varsho finally signs, and Kansas City gets another guy. They're using some money. Chris Bubic gets $4 million, so that's another thing that could add. So we might have to make some moves to get below that line, try to get back to $120 million. Ryan Weathers gets $2.2 million. And Feltner gets 1.4. Yandy Diaz going to Kansas City again. They are just stacking up. They've signed 4 or 5 pretty significant free agents so far. 1 year, $12 million to go to Kansas City. They are trying to make a push as well. Looking at our budget, we're at $130 million. After talking with our owner, he's allowed me to keep this budget with the promise that we will be back on budget next year. Guy like Teoscar Hernandez, guy like Chris Bubic, our 1-year deals, those will go right away, and boom, 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 that's $12 million right there. Now on top of these relievers as well, so we're gonna have to do some roster movements. But here, let's check out the final roster before we get out of here. Rotation: Jesus Luzardo, Chase Dollander, Bobby White, Chris Bubic, Bud Leonard is going to be up with us, and some other moves. Probably Hardesty and Rose are going to break camp and compete, and we'll see them at the end of the spring training recap. Cabrera, Karinchak, and TJ Antone, with Justin Lawrence, Riley Pint, Ryan Weathers, and the rest are going to be bullpen guys for us. Dre Jameson is going to be our closer. Drew Romo will be here as our catcher. McIver is going to be his backup. Fernandez and Hoskins are going to platoon at first base. Chris Bryant, again with his contract, is going to have to be on the team in some capacity as well. Dale Amador, second baseman, lock it in. Nolan Jones, third baseman, lock it in. And all our third basemen on our 40-man roster. We'll see if anyone can make some moves, break camp, see kind of what we're going to be working with. Ezekiel Tovar is going to be at short. As always, Cedon Rafael is going to be a bench guy for us. Teoscar Hernandez in left field. I think we're going to put Jazz Chisholm in right field and keep Doyle out there in center field. Obviously, Montgomery and Cespedes, and then Veen and Beck are going to be competing, and we shall see. DH spot potentially be open, or one of these corner outfield spots potentially be open. We'll kind of see how spring training goes, and that is going to do it. Here is on the anonymous GM survey. We ranked 4th in defense, 14th in speed, and 23rd best team people are thinking they like what we got from us. The power is going to be there. I think the pitching is going to be better than 26th we were ranked. I will do it here. We appreciate you joining in. Jazz Chisholm, Colorado Rockies. We're making the push. We're doing it. We'll have spring training up next. I'm excited for 2027.